I feel like at this point, I use Glean at every single step of the way in my workday. So I have Glean in my desktop, I have it in my browser as an extension, I have it in Slack. And I know that, say I was working at a company before this, and I know that there would be so many situations where people would come and ask questions or would just look for updates in person. But now all of that has become so much easier with Glean. There's no need to spend time doing all of that, and I can actually spend time doing real work and focusing on the future, etc. I think every single day, as soon as I start my day, I use Glean to figure out what I need to address, what kind of Slack messages I need to respond to, what reviews I need to do. When I'm doing a particular review, say I'm reviewing code or a document, it's so easy with Glean to find all the context around it. So I can look for conversations that have been happening on the topic, other pieces of code that have gone in, other documents that people are discussing on. And it just makes it a lot easier and saves a lot of time for me. Very recently, I was doing some performance evaluations, and it was just so easy for me to figure out what my team has been doing in the last 6 months. And of course, often as a manager, you forget after the point of time, or you don't have context to everything that your team has been doing. But with Glean, it was so easy to find this information and also organize it in a way that it was very easy for somebody else to understand. And it took me far less time than it would do without Glean. And I hear very similar sentiments from customers as well. I know customers who say that if it's not gleanable, if it's not found on Glean, it probably doesn't exist. And that's the kind of thing that we strive to be. And I know I was talking to a friend of mine who works at a company that uses Glean, and they are an engineer. And they were talking about how earlier they would spend so much time just building things or doing things that have already been done before. So for example, they would be writing code that's already been written before. They would be trying out experiments that have maybe already been tried, failed, or given some results, or discussing designs that have already been discussed. And with Glean, it becomes so much easier to catch up on all that context, which earlier you would just have to find a person who has maybe been in the company long enough to and hope that they have all of that context. So now they were saying that they are able to actually focus on doing things and starting from a point where they can reuse a lot of these learnings from the past, they use a lot of code maybe, and they're actually being much more productive at work. And I think that's truly the value of Glean, and I feel like it's making work better for everyone.